Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Even the Ukrainians are reporting it, and they are confirming that the Russians are conducting three, I would say, successful offensive operations in Ukraine. But, like always, you can't say, the truth and nothing but the truth. You have to come with, your chainsaw and cut the feet or the legs of the big truth. So yes, the Ukrainians are reporting that the Russians are advancing, or at least they conduct three offensive operations, but at a great cost. As always in life, when we get engaged in something, an activity, whatever they might be, the harder you get to it, the sweeter the moment of victory. That's why easy successes are not as sweet as hard-earned successes. So let's see what this article is saying, and this article comes from the Ukrainian side. This is from Ukrainska Pravda, and this is the title. Russians continue their offensive on three fronts, suffering losses, General Staff report. Now, this is from Ukrainska Pravda on January 28, Saturday, 2023. This is also a little summary of the Ukrainian front, my daily summary, but this was the main, the headline here in this article. So let's start reading it. The General Staff stated that the Russians are still continuing their offensive on the Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Novopavlivka fronts and suffering heavy losses. General Staff of the Armed Forces on Facebook informed as of 1800, which is 6 p.m., on January 28, which is today, Saturday. Quote, losing a large number of manpower, the enemy is still conducting offensive actions on the Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Novopavlivka fronts. On the Kupiansk, Liman, Zaporozhye and Kherson fronts, it is on the defensive. So if you're on the defensive, that means the Ukrainians are on the offensive. No, I think so. It's either defensive, offensive, or nothing. Well, it's nothing, it's defensive. That means the other guys are in the offensive. That's how I interpret it, but, this they come with this communique or with this statement every day at 6 p.m. Ukraine or Kiev time. Now, on Saturday, Russia launched missile attack on a civilian infrastructure in the city of Konstantinivka, Donetsk Oblast, and in total launched more than 15 attacks from MLRS. There are casualties among the civilians. It's okay to report this because I have another article coming next with the Russians reporting that actually the Ukrainians blew up a hospital using HIMARS. And that's a no-no. On the Volyn, Polisia, Sivershchnya and Slobozhanchnya fronts, the situation has not changed significantly, and no offensive groups of occupiers have been detected. The training of units of the 6th Motorized Rifle Division of the 3rd Army Corps of the Russian Federation continues at the training grounds of the Republic of Belarus. On the Sivershchnya front, the Russian forces shelled the area of the settlements of, and there's about 8, I would say. All these are in Sumy Oblast, and the Russians used mortars to shell these settlements. On the Slobozhanchnya front, as a result of mortar and artillery shelling, the districts of Hurikozakok, I never heard this one, Krasne, no, Staristnya, Okimivka, and about 7 more in Kharkiv Oblast were damaged. On the Kupiansk front, the invaders shelled the positions of Ukrainian troops. No, say it ain't so. So finally the Russians are shelling, according to the Ukrainians, positions of Ukrainian troops. Never heard this almost ever before. So anyway, that's news here. On the Kupiansk front, the invaders shelled the positions of Ukrainian troops in the areas of the settlements of Ivanivka, Kislivka, and Krochmalne in Kharkiv Oblast, Novoselivskia in Luhansk Oblast, and Berestove in Donetsk Oblast. Well, you gotta put this in the calendar, man. Kupiansk front, shelled positions of Ukrainian troops. Okay, on the Liman front, that used to be an offensive, Russian offensive. So on the Liman front, the invaders shelled Makivka, Chervonopavlivka, and Dibrova in Luhansk Oblast with mortars and tubed artillery. On the Bakhmut front, areas of 18 settlements came under fire. Among them are Spirnia, Rozodlivka, Bakhmut, Chasiv Yar, Mayorsk in Donetsk Oblast. I skipped a few here so I don't break your eardrums. All right, on the Avdiivka front, Berdych, Avdiivka, Vodiane, Nevelske, Vesele, two more came under occupiers' fire. I haven't read anything yet about any tanks. Usually they mention tanks when they report Russian advancements or offensives. Nothing so far. On the Novopavlivka front, maybe they don't have tanks anymore. They should ask the West to deliver some to Moscow. On the Novopavlivka front, Bohoivlenka, Vuhledar, and Zolotaniva in Donetsk Oblast came under fire. On the Zaporozhye front, 15 settlements were attacked. In particular, no, I will not read those, in Donetsk Oblast and some other ones in Zaporozhye Oblast. You want me to Chervone, Huliapole, Cherivne, or Kyiv? All right. That was pretty good, I guess. On the Kherson front, the areas of, and I got about like 7 and maybe 9 settlements, and Kherson came under artillery fire. The Russian forces are continuing to suffer losses. Really? In particular, up to 50 wounded occupiers were brought to the city hospital in Tokmak settlement, Zaporozhye Oblast, in recent days. Most of them are sent back to the contact line after receiving formal medicine assistance. Man, these are evil, man. Wow. During the course of the day, the aviation of the defense forces made 4 strikes off the clusters of Russian occupation forces, and rocket and artillery forces units hit 2 control points, 2 air defense positions, and 3 areas of concentration of the Russian manpower. A little question for you, my friends. Have you heard me use the word Russian army? No, only when I mention it in this context. Hey, I've never heard these guys mentioning the Russian army. But before that, there's no Russian army. Rarely I hear, the Russian army is going to increase its troops or something from, 1.2 million to 1.5 million, but it's somewhere else. I personally did not hear or read in the war on Ukrainian territory the word the Russian army defends, or the Russian army advances, Russian troops, this kind of things. Russian forces. Is it because Russian army would be improper to be used? I mean, they use Wagner, they use the Kadyrovites, they use mercenaries, they use all kind of terms to refer to certain kind of troops, just to narrow it down. But Russian army is like is invisible there. Probably after this, the Ukrainians will start using it because they listen to me. Yeah, okay, but anyway, this is coming from the Ukrainians, obviously, and if they report that the Russians are conducting 3 offensive operations on 3 directions, it's a big news. Why? Because you never mention your adversaries' or enemies' successes. Yeah, you say if they have to say that and then immediately say, yeah, but at the cost of big losses, that tells me the Russians actually are not walking, okay? But That is, I don't have any evidence, but experience with these weasels. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.